Hi everyone, welcome back to Yummy Toddler with a new story, Flash Harriet and the Mystery of Fiendish Footprints by Karen Wallace and Andy Rowland. Two peculiar people. Flash Harriet was sitting in her treehouse, trying not to listen to the sound of her father banging on his piano. Bang, bang, bang. It was Norman Brilliant's most famous noise, and he liked to play it every day. Smash, smash, smash. Flash Harriet's mother's second Cynthia was standing on the top of the roof, spinning plates. It was her favorite acrobatic act, but right now it was not going very well. Flash Harriet was reading a book called Tearing Detective. Her uncle Porlock has written it, and he was the best detective in the business. Smash bang! Flash Harriet put down her book. Even though she was a good detective like her uncle, she still needed peace and quiet so that she could concentrate. Across the room, Gus, her pet tarantula, rolled his eyes. Gus has been Uncle Porlock's idea. Best guard dog you can find, he had said. And he was right. Even though Flash Harriet knew that the Gus was really as sweet as a kitten. I'm going to the park to read my book, said Flash Harriet to Gus, and she reached for the fireman pole she used for quick exits. Look after the place, okay? Gus was about to waggle his legs in reply when there was a sharp knock at the door. Flash Harriet quickly returned to the desk. A woman with a face like a weasel strode into the room. She was wearing lime green Wellington boots decorated with vegetable stickers. I'm Daphne Bean, she said, holding out her hand. Daphne Bean, the gardening queen. I haven't got any time to waste, so you'd better stop what you're doing and listen. Flash Harriet decided she didn't like the look of Daphne Bean. How can I help you? She asked. It's about dear Marmaduke Mildew, said Daphne Bean. Frankie Leather and Muriel Grant want to have his thrown out of the giant vegetable competition because she's so crazy about winning. But as I'm his friend, I've come to warn you. Warn me about what? Asked Flash Harriet coldly. Daphne Bean narrowed her eyes. Warn you that competition will be ruined unless you do something about Marmaduke. He's gone loopy. I beg your pardon? Loopy? Nuts? Crazy? Snapped Daphne Bean. You are the detective. You find out. Then she smirked at Flash Harriet. But if you want a tip from me, watch out for Frankie. He just hates poor Marmaduke. Then Daphne left, slamming the door behind her. Flash Harriet looked at Gus, who was laying on his back, waggling his legs in the air. It was the way of telling her that something suspicious was going on, and he was right. 5 minutes later, there was a squelching noise, and a man as soggy as a wet teddy bear struggled up the fireman pole. My name is Marmaduke Mildew, he said, sounding as he was trying hard not to burst into tears, and I really need your help. Flash Harriet felt sorry for Marmaduke immediately, despite what Daphne Bean had said about him. He had droopy brown eyes and a lump of mud on his head, and he didn't seem to notice. Tell me everything, she said. I'll help you if I can. So Marmaduke explained about the giant vegetable competition. It was 100th anniversary and was going to the best vegetable competition the town had ever put on. There were four competitions: himself with the giant leeks, Stephanie Bean with her huge pumpkins, Muriel Grant with her gigantic carrots, and Frankie Leather with his enormous onions. Everyone knows that it all depends on the vegetables and the best gardener will win, cried Marmaduke, clearly upset. But last night a monster trampled all over the garden, only 2 days before the competition. What kind of monster? Asked Flash Harriet. I don't know, replied Marmaduke, but it's got feet like an elephant and they all are blaming me. Flash Harriet frowned. Why? Because I feed the elephants at the zoo, replied Marmaduke. He buried his head in his hands and the lump of the mud fall down on the floor. They have they have even banned me from the vegetable garden, so now I cannot look after my leeks. Just tell me how to get to the garden and I'll look after my leeks, said Flash Harriet firmly. And don't worry about that monster, I'm on that case. Monster footprints. 10 minutes later, armed with a bottle of jumbo juice for Marmaduke Miley's giant leeks, Flash Harriet set off for the vegetable garden on her motor powered tricycle. Suddenly, a shining gold Ferrari with a silver onion on the bonnet rode past her. The driver had a sharp, hard face and a diamond ring on a diamond ring with an F on it sparkled on his little finger. I wonder if that's Frankie Leather, Frankie thought Flash Harriet. She didn't like the look of him one bit. Then she saw the person sitting beside him and almost fell off her strike. It was Daphne Bean, and there was a nasty smile on her face. Something fishy was going on. Flash had followed Marmaduke instructions for getting to the garden, and before long she spotted a heavy iron door. She turned three different keys into different locks. It was like going into a high security bank vault. As she opened the door, women jumped out at her wearing a yellow boiler suit. It had Muriel Grunt, crane driver on it. Get out, she yelled. You are trespassing. I want to ask some question about your vegetable, replied Flash Ferret in a firm voice. To her astonishment, Marielle threw herself on the ground and rolled about in the mud, waving her arms and legs about. It's not fair, I always get left out. She howled. I want to win, but that monster ruining my carrots. Don't mind, Mariel, said a nasty voice. Brain the size of an acorn, voice like fog, and it was Stephanie Bean. She pointed across the garden. See, my pumpkins have been pulped, and over there, Frankie onions have been wiped out. Flash Harriet stared at the huge round prints that were all over the ground. They certainly looked like elephant prints, but there was something strange about them. Where was it? Then she realized that if the prints had been made by an elephant, it was a very tidy elephant. The big round holes were in neat lines, and the part of each vegetable patch had been left untouched, which means that all the competitors still had a chance to win. There was a screech of brakes of a gold Ferrari skidded to a halt and a man with a sharp face jumped out. Such a shame about Marmaduke, sneered Frank Leather without bothering to introduce himself. He's in a terrible trouble, you know. These footprints belong to an elephant. Frankie smiled a smile like an alligator's, just like the ones he looked after at the zoo. If you ask me, he will be back tonight to smash the rest of our vegetables. Flash Harriet thought hard. It looked as if Frankie was right about the footprints, but why was he trying too hard to blame Marmaduke? And why had Daphne been told her to watch out for Frankie and then gone driving around with him in his car? There was one way to find out. Flash got out her phone and texted her uncle Prodlock in Scotland. Follow your hunch. The next day, a pigeon wearing a tartan scarf flopped through the window on the Flash Harriet desk. There was a message tied on his leg. It said, Follow your hunch, Uncle P. Flash Harriet stared at the tiny piece of the paper. Uncle Prologue was telling her to trust her own judgment. But the problem was she didn't have any hunch. Any of the competitors could be cheating. As an open newspaper on the desk caught her eye, the headline said, Mayor's Vital Vegetable Quest. Flash Harriet read on. The mayor was going to judge the giant vegetable competition. Flash Harriet read on. The mayor was going to judge the next. Flash Harriet read on. The mayor was going to judge the giant vegetable competition the next day, and the prize was a very special secret. Flash Harriet felt the hair on the back of her neck prickle. Maybe it was the time to pay the mayor's visit. An hour later, Flashlight was standing in the mayor's enormous office. This competition is vital. He's cocked, hopping from foot to foot. Flash Harriet looked at Gus and he rolled his eyes. Please, Mr. Mayor, she said firmly, just tell me everything. The mayor took a deep breath as a special 100th anniversary prize, he said, pausing at every word. Whoever wins the competition will get to keep Vegetable Garden forever. He looked worried. All three competitors have promised me to keep growing vegetables there, but I must be sure that the winner is telling the truth. Otherwise, the town will lose its vegetable garden, and we really need those vegetables for our school diners. Surely you mean for competitors, said Flash Harriet in a puzzled voice. The mayor pulled a letter out of his pocket. Marmaduke Mildew has ridden an elephant over the garden and almost destroyed everyone's vegetables. The mayor paused. I am throwing him out of the competition for cheating. He is not a cheat, cried Flash Harriet. I am sure he is not. Besides, he leaks what Temple don't do. Flash fixed the mayor with a fierce stare. Who sent you that letter? There's no name on the bottom, replied the mayor, as if it didn't matter. Anyways, that still doesn't explain the elephant. Marmaduke Mildew is the only who knows how to ride on. He only feeds them, insisted Flash Harriet. As she spoke, she thought of Daphne beginner Frank Leather in the Ferrari together and Muriel Grunt yelling, It's not fair. I always get left out. Left out of what? Flash Harriet made up mind. It was time for action. Meet me at Vegetable Garden tonight and bring some floodlights, she said to Mr. Mayor. I'll show you your so-called elephant. Caught in the lights. Flash Harriet crouched amongst the vegetable in darkness. Even though Gus was in his cage beside her, she had never felt so nervous in all her life. What if she was wrong? She had no proof that Marmaduke was not that cheat. Only a strong feeling in the pit of her stomach and her Uncle Prodluck's message, follow your hunch. Just then, Mr. Mayor crawled across her wet grass towards her. Did you bring the floodlights? Whispered Flash Harriet. The mayor nodded and handed over the remote control. You'd better be right about this, he muttered crossly. My trousers are ruined. They heard the sound of a car engine at the gate. Shh, said Flash Harriet. Someone is coming. Flash Harriet and the mayor watched in stunned silence as Daphne Bean and Frankie Leather climb out of the Ferrari, pull plastic waste paper basket in the shape of an elephant foot over their boots and begin stamping all over the ground. Oi, growled Frankie. Mind my onions. I won't have any left for competition. You stay off my pumpkins then, snarled Daphne. Who care about your pumpkins? Sneered Frankie. We agreed. I win the competition and you get my Ferrari. And then I'm going to turn the garden into a multi-story car park. Rubbish, screeched Daphne. I got Muriel to play along with us. I told that stupid detective that Marmaduke has gone crazy, so I win. You can keep your Ferrari because I'm building a keep fit center. She showed her face into his. Then I'll knock you out with one big punch. Sorry, Dumbrain, Frankie yelled back nastily. You've got it wrong. She smelled a pumpkin as big as a tent. It was my idea to write to that dope of the mayor and tell that Marmaduke was a cheat. Flash Harriet heard an angry spluttering noise beside her. Shh, she whispered to the mayor, it's not over yet. Sure enough, the next moment Muriel Gurn sailed over the garden wall on an enormous pogo stick. A huge rubber elephant foot was stuck in the to the end. Even Flash Harriet gasped. Cheats, Muriel screamed at Frankie and Daphne. You are going to crush all my carrots. You were going to leave me out and win the competition for yourselves. She landed right in the middle of the Frankie onions. Well, I will show you both. Muriel bounced over to smash the rest of the Daphne's pumpkins. I've got my own plans, Muriel shrieked. I'm going to win the competition and I'm building a mud wrestling club, crane drivers only. Flash Harriet watched in horror as Muriel turned in mid-air and headed towards Marmaduke Mildew Leaks. There was only one thing to do. She switched on floodlights. A very special favor, disgusting, disgraceful, bellowed the mayor at the three cheats, who stood frozen like statues in the bright white light. I am ashamed to be standing in some garden as you as vegetable vandals. Frankie burst into tears and Muriel threw himself on the ground and began to howl, but Daphne saw her chance. If I can't win, nobody wins, Daphne yelled at the top of her voice as she ran towards the last row of Marmaduke Mildew Lakes. Flash Harriet flicked open the catch of the Gus traveling cage. Quick, Gus, she shouted, stop her. Speedier than a shooting car, Gus soared through the air and landing like a furry octopus on the top of the Daphne head. Daphne opened her mouth to yell, but Gus clamped a hairy leg over her front teeth and she fell to the ground with a wet thumb. My legs, cried a squeaky voice. I must see my legs. Someone whose looked like a soggy teddy bear ran up the path towards the row of the tall green leaves. My darlings, my lovelies, sniffled Marmaduke Mildews. Are you all right? Flash Harriet and Mayor stared in astonishment as Marmaduke wrapped his arms around the leaks. The mayor coughed in an embarrassment sort of way. Sorry for interrupting, Mildew, he muttered. Marmaduke nearly jumped out of the skin. Mr. Mayor, he cried, I didn't see you. He grabbed the mayor's hand in his muddy one. How I can thank you for saving my legs. Don't thank me, replied the mayor, trying hard to pull his hand free. It was Flash Harriet. She believed you were innocent and she brought me here to prove it. Marmaduke looked at them in astonishment. But how? I don't understand. It's quite simple, said Flash Harriet. There was something fishy about some those elephant prints. They were too tidy and they were all left feet. Like Uncle Podluck told me, I followed my hunch. I just knew you were the only one who really loved the garden. Congratulations, Marmaduke, said the mayor. It looks as if the vegetable garden is yours. Mine? Gasped Marmaduke mildly. You mean? Yes, cried the mayor excitedly. You're going to win the giant vegetable competition. He pointed to the remaining row of the leeks gleaming like leafy arboreal towers in the floodlights. I've never seen such huge, beautiful leeks in all of my life. Marmaduke turned to Flash Harriet. May I ask you a favor? He said shyly. Of course. May I name the garden after you? Marmaduke mildly looked around the rows of the crushed vegetable. When I've done the digging and made it look lovely again, of course, I'll be honored. I'd be honored, replied Flash Harriet. I've never had a vegetable garden named after me. She turned and winked at the mayor. And as for doing the digging, I know just the people for the job. And the three cheats pulled furious faces. The mayor burst laughing. Flash Harriet, she cried, you are genius and the most brilliant detective ever. Flash Harriet solved the case. Here are the clues. Daphne says his Daphne says she is not Frankie's friend. She rides with him in the car. Muriel wails that Daphne had Frankie are always leaving her out. The elephant tracks are all left feet and too tidy. Some of the each competition vegetables are left and some could win the competition. The competition winner will get the garden forever to use as they like. The mayor get the letter accusing Marmaduke because he worked with elephants. All the competitors want to win, but Marmaduke seems to love his vegetables the most.